Hey, this is Dan Buglio with Pain Free You. And today I have Betsy Searchin from Vancouver, British Columbia with me. And she's agreed to share her story with you. And I'm not going to spoil any of it by kind of giving you a preview. I'm going to let her kind of tell you a little bit about where she's been, her journey with this whole mind body TMS type of stuff, where she's at now. And hopefully you guys can glean a little bit of insight and definitely optimism and hope because she's had a pretty incredible journey. So thank you, Betsy. I appreciate you being willing to share your story because these are extremely helpful to the audience out there.
Mm-hmm. I'm happy to do it. So Dan, my story is a little bit different from some of the others I've heard on your show. My life changed about 6 years ago when I was bitten by a tick and I developed Lyme disease. As some of you may know, Lyme, it's quite a misunderstood disease. Mm-hmm. It's very, very hard to diagnose and very, very hard to treat.
Right.
So I had a period of over a year where my health was just declining. I didn't know what was going on. And then in December of 2015, I ended up in the hospital with acute pancreatitis, which is really quite a life-threatening thing. When I came out of the hospital, I did not recover. I started developing all kinds of other symptoms, many of them neurological. And I went to all kinds of specialists, all kinds of doctors. No one knew what it was. When I asked about Lyme disease, I was told they would not even discuss that with me. It wasn't on the table as a possibility.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was pretty much bedridden. I had 24/7 live-in care for over 7 months. In March of 2016, I sent blood and stool and yada, yada to the States and to Germany. I was diagnosed with Lyme disease. Now, at first, you're really happy because you have a diagnosis. But actually, it's just a diagnosis. And there's so many different treatments. And some of them are snake oil. And some of them help a little bit.
Okay.
I did end up going down to New Mexico and I had ozone treatment, a bunch of stuff that brought me up a little bit.
Right.
And enough so that I didn't need live-in care, but still had care 4 hours a day, 3 days a week. Right. And I continued at that level until December of 2017.
Okay.
At that time, I came across something called DNRS. Do you know DNRS?
Yeah, I'm familiar. Annie Hopper.
Annie Hopper's work. Okay. So Annie Hopper's work is all about retraining the brain. Mm-hmm. It's all about the driver of everything that's going on with you right now is your brain. It's your nervous system. You are in a constant state of fight or flight. And when you're in that state, it doesn't matter what healing modalities are thrown at you. None of them will work because you're so jacked up.
Sure.
So I went to one of her 5-day intensives, okay, and I did the work rigorously every day, an hour a day. And her work uses a lot of what you actually talked about in your video this morning. It uses a lot of visualizations. Okay. So it uses past visualizations where you remember yourself strong or happy or joyful, and you describe it in excruciating detail so that you can feel it in your body and you can get your nervous system down to that state of calm. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then you do a future visualization and you imagine yourself as you would like to be in whatever kind of situation you're thinking of. Right. So I did that work religiously for a year. And I started to get better and better and better.
Nice.
Fast forward to December of 2019. I was traveling. I got a dose of food poisoning. And gut issues are really classic with Lyme disease. And I got very sick with these gut issues. I went outside myself once again because I was in complete terror of relapsing. So I went to a new practitioner who did a kind of therapy. I went once a week, and every single week she told me how sick I was. Your kidneys aren't working, your liver's shutting down, this is happening, that is happening. By the end of 8 months, I was so limbic. I was in fear all the time, and my health just went.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah. And you know, the emotional piece of that. Devastating, because I never thought I'd go that far down again. Mm-hmm. But when I finally realized that September was, you know what? You are completely in your sympathy. You're in fight or flight. Nothing she throws at you is going to help. You have to go back to what worked in the past. Right. So I started brain retraining again. And I took a new course that's offered through a complex chronic disease program in Vancouver, a neuroplasticity course that's offered by a doctor that combines some of Annie's work, some of the stuff Curable does, some of the stuff Gupta does, 6-month program. I am back up 75%.
That's awesome.
So for me, yes, there can be physical things that set things off. But if I can stay calm, noticing, soothing, I'm okay, talking to my body, talking to my brain, it'll go away. It'll settle down.
Right.
And, you know, I'm sorry that I have to go through twice to get it, but I did. And it makes me, I have such respect for my brain. And I have the neuroplasticity course I did with the doctor was so focused on education and knowledge of how the brain works that I don't have to figure anything out anymore. I know what's happening. I don't have to be afraid of it. I know what's happening. And I know what to do about it.
Right.
So once you take all of that out of the mix, you can start to get better. And my challenge still is if I have a day or 2 or 3 or 4, I can feel myself starting to get, uh-oh. And then I have to use my tools, of which I have so many, to counteract that. And I have to catch my thoughts as they're happening. So if I have a twinge and my first response is, uh-oh, then I have to stop it right there. Even if I just say, stop it, it's a twinge, you're fine. I can't let those things go. I notice them. I observe them. I can be curious about them. And then I move on.
When you say move on, meaning you shift your focus back to your life?
I shift my focus.
Okay.
I totally shift my focus. Yeah, I put on music, I go out for a walk, whatever it is that will take my attention away.
Right. So in other words, you don't take your thought, uh-oh, so seriously.
Yeah.
And you choose not to entertain that, and you just kind of let that thought go by and you kind of reframe. Yeah. And if you need to, you'll reassure yourself, hey, Betsy, you're okay.
Yeah.
And then you shift back.
And then I'll shift back. And sometimes it's just noticing and going, haha, nice try, brain. I'm not going down that road. I know where that road leads. And other times I have to do a visualization and spend 15 minutes getting myself soothed.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool. So I know there's going to be a lot of people watching this, and they're going to be saying, okay, but what did you do? Because a lot of times, people are
Okay.
looking for the step by step, and I'm not a big believer in a to-do list,
Right.
right? Like, you had to get to the point where you understood it enough to dial down the fear. So when you reassured yourself, you believed it,
That's right.
right? Because
Yeah.
if somebody just says to you, oh, you're fine, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
If you're not on that same page, your system is not going to settle down. You're going to stay in that
Absolutely.
fear. You're going to stay in the terror. You're going to stay
That's right.
in that high state of limbic stress, if you will.
Right.
And you're right. At that point, no matter what you do, it's not going to work if your brain's not on board with it,
That's right.
because
Yeah.
this controls the entire system.
Exactly.
So is there
Exactly.
anything you can kind of suggest that was a turning point for you? Was it truly the acknowledgement and the acceptance that I can get out of the way and trust my body, and your only job is to give yourself better instructions?
That is a huge piece. You have to believe that this is a mind-body issue.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to help yourself believe that, to help myself believe it, for example, when I was having these very extreme gut symptoms, I got a colonoscopy. I had it checked out. Guess what? It was totally normal. Okay, I can take that possibility out of my brain.
Right.
I don't even have to go there, because I did that test. It's clear. It's fine. So sometimes, for me, I'd been having symptoms for so long with my gut, it was perfectly reasonable for me to have that test.
Yeah. And I always believe if we've got something going on, get it checked out.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
challenge is, in many cases, the doctors will start saying, but you've got this gut imbalance, or you've got this, or you've got that. And they'll find these things that are the result of the stress and not the
Right.
cause of the problem. And
Right.
so it's a little bit of a tricky
It's
path
very,
with these doctors, but you
yeah.
did the right thing because you ruled out the significant, catastrophic, life-threatening stuff.
Right. Exactly.
And then when the doctor said you're okay, the key point is you actually believed them, because many people say, what do you mean I'm okay? I've got all this pain. I don't believe you. Aren't there more tests we can run? And then we
Yeah.
go to specialist, and
Yeah.
this desire to figure it out
Yeah.
causes us to not believe a doctor who's really good at finding bad stuff. That's what they're supposed to do.
Right.
We don't believe them because the fear and the worry and the pain causes us to go, there must be something. Keep looking.
And I was there in the first couple of years. And look, I got 7 different diagnoses: chronic Lyme, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, yada, yada, yada. None of those diseases have any cure. They're all reflective, as far as I'm concerned, of the hypersensitivity in the nervous system that's creating all these issues.
Right.
So it's an umbrella term for the fact that your brain's been hijacked basically by your amygdala and fear. And the parts of the brain that are supposed to be acting in a certain way can't, because they've been co-opted by your limbic system, and you're in freak out all the time.
Yeah. So what
And
I like to view with the brain is, because hijacked, co-opted by, this seems fairly confrontational, has an evil sense to it. And I don't believe that's the case. I believe that the brain is our best friend. It is doing everything it can to keep us safe and alive. It's just that it has had enough bad data,
right,
that it has become so hypervigilant and so protective that it has to stay in this high static fear mode, because its goal is to keep you safe. It's not hijacking and co-opting and taking over. That kind of sounds like the pirates have taken over the ship.
Right.
I mean, I guess we can use that analogy, but I just want to point out for anybody watching that this is not an evil part of our brain doing something bad. It is truly the brain doing what it's supposed to do, but based on misinformation, bad diagnoses, no answers, failed treatments. And the only thing that brain can do to keep you safe is to become more and more and more activated and sensitized and vigilant. And that's, I think, where you end up, where when you're in that state, a traditional treatment that might work okay and help doesn't, because your brain's going, oh my God, we got a problem. So I just wanted to clarify that. I didn't mean to cut you off, but
no, I appreciate the different way that you're seeing the language. Yeah. Of that.
And again, your experience is awesome. And, please continue.
Yeah. Well, you asked me the steps. So, if people want to know what I tried, I tried.
Not the failed stuff. We don't care about the stuff.
Okay. Well, the only thing that, acupuncture helped a little bit for pain. What else helped me? For literally physical treatments?
No, I mean in regards to the brain retraining. So Annie Hopper stuff really works well for you to calm down the system.
Yes.
And was there any aha moment where you finally got it from the intellectual to wisdom that said, holy crap, I really am okay? Like, was there a turning point at some point?
There were a number of times where I went away with friends to stay at a cottage or in the country. And I would get in that car thinking, how am I even going to get out of bed for these 5 days? And I would go there, and within 24 hours, I would be feeling better. And so I would say, well, what is that? Is it because I'm in nature? Is it because I'm with friends? Is it because I'm away from the city? But the point is that I felt really good. So that's giving me information that this is not a mainly physical problem. If I can flip a switch and feel so much better so quickly, something else is going on here.
Yeah. My impression of that is that when you are living inside of your head in the problem solving, I've got to fix this mode, activated. It is staying connected. The neural pathways are firing and staying connected.
Right.
And I like to view things like you just described, and it happens all the time, as evidence that when you move out of your head and into life, experiencing something joyful, fun, connecting with others, connecting with nature, just moving out of your fearful, worrisome head, all of a sudden the brain goes, oh, good, she's okay.
Yeah.
And the whole system calms down. And those connections can let go because you're otherwise engaged. Now, that doesn't mean we need to distract ourselves from the symptoms, because distraction is still all about, I got to avoid that. Let me run over here. But you literally made this weekend or this trip that you took, living that and experiencing that with joy was way more important than fixing anything. And you temporarily stepped out of the fixer role into, I'm going to just have some fun. And when your brain says, holy crap, she's okay, it lets go. And the symptoms can easily fade away.
Yeah.
That makes sense? So that's awesome evidence for you or for anybody who's experienced that. That is not a body problem. It's coming from the brain, because the body doesn't go on vacation if you have a structural physical thing. Right. That's awesome. Cool. Yeah. What else did you realize? Anything else cool?
Some of the things I've learned to do is for myself. A lot of people go through times when they can't eat any food and everything they eat irritates them, or they're afraid to go for a walk because they've had this pain for so long. So avoidance becomes a big part of what life looks like. And in fact, avoidance is what doctors will often tell you to do. So I have used what Annie Hopper calls incremental training. So breaking things down into small bites, visualizing first what it is I want to do and a wonderful outcome, and doing it. And each time adding a little more to it, so that my nervous system doesn't need to go, what's she doing? She's going on a 5K walk. So
sure.
My goal is always to break things into chunks if I'm doing something new that my brain won't even notice, because I'm not dumping a big, huge new thing if I don't have to.
Yeah.
When that's in my control.
And I kind of use different words, but I talk about, we visualize a positive outcome and then we do a graded exposure, like a little bit at a time. It's the same exact process. And I've been talking about that for a while as well, that we just want to imagine the proper outcome. That was today's video. Imagine what you want.
Right.
And then go slowly. I also have a video called Exercise in Fear, where I talk about it. Like, if you want to start resuming exercise, your fear level is going to determine how fast you can get into it.
Right.
Because if you just jump right back in with both feet into the deep end, your brain's going to go, whoa, stop it. What are you doing? And then you're going to hurt more later or the next day. And then you're going to go, see, I knew that was dangerous. And you're all of a sudden not getting any forward progress. You're actually taking steps backwards because you just scared the crap out of yourself and confirmed, I overdid it. I worked out too hard, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't do anything too hard with your body, but your brain wasn't ready.
Exactly.
It didn't trust that that was a safe activity. So yeah, Annie's saying it in different words, but it's the same exact process, that visualize an excellent outcome and then get slowly back into it so that your brain doesn't freak out. Very cool.
I'm now at the point, with walking, where I'm walking consistently 8,000 steps a day.
That's awesome.
Well, a year ago it was 2,000. So that's happened slowly over time.
So do you still have physical pain?
I do. I still deal with pain in my joints. I have a sensitive digestive system. But you know what? I'm not trying to fix that all the time. I'm trying to respect it. I'm trying to feed myself in a way that I know my body will thrive. My joint pain, I stretch, I warm up, I do things to take care of myself. And, part of it is I'm almost 70. So some of this stuff happens anyway. But I have tools to accept it that I think most people don't.
Yeah. I'd like to make a comment on the digestive. You said I've got a sensitive digestive system.
Yeah.
So I speak a lot about the impact of stress on our whole system, but digestive system, immune system are suppressed when we're in the fight or flight response.
Right.
And like any type of symptom, when you've had it for a while, it can become learned. So I'll agree 1,000% with you that you want to feed yourself foods that your body enjoys, that you thrive on, that you feel good on, but we don't want to do it to the detriment of driving ourselves crazy and eating like a strict, military routine of I have to do this otherwise, because that's all fear driven. And when you start to do a diet based on fear, elimination diets and strictness, what are we doing? We're putting ourselves into fight or flight just by worrying, is this food going to be bad for me?
Yeah.
And then what happens? Your digestive system shuts down, your digestive enzymes in your stomach shut down or are suppressed. Even saliva production, massively suppressed. I was talking to somebody recently who was saying, I wake up with dry mouth all the time, or I have dry mouth all day. I can drink 2 liters of water. My mouth is always dry. That's part of the digestive system that's suppressed due to chronic fight or flight.
Right.
So I'll just encourage you to, instead of viewing that you've got a sensitive digestive system, it may not be optimal yet. Your limbic system's still kind of coming back online. And you may find that with continued reassurance about that and teaching your brain that I don't have a problem here,
Yeah.
You may find that that eases up even more so. You still want to eat healthy because that's good for us, but you don't have to do it to do anything special, I guess, is the
Yeah. No, I have done a lot of those diets you mentioned.
it just
And they
stress you out
actually,
more.
yeah, well, they don't work either,
Right.
because that's not the problem. And you brought up an important point, which is the language you used to describe what's happening in your body. Because, as you say, the brain's always listening.
Yes.
So yeah, thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, I can frame that in a different way. And for me, with food, again, the graded exposure, I've used that to get certain foods back into my
circulation. Yep. Into your rotation, the diet.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. What else do you want to share? Any other ahas that kind of helped you out? Did you go through and like read Sarno and all that stuff, or did you?
I didn't read Sarno. I read a lot of Joe Dispenza. I read Bruce Lipton. I read Annie's book, Wired to Heal.
Sure.
I think, Norman Doidge, The Brain That Heals Itself, Michael Moskowitz. So a lot of
basically TMS, but not calling it TMS.
Exactly. Listen to a bunch of, podcasts and seminars and all these courses, and saw for a lot of people what this work can do. Yeah. And for me, working with my nervous system is the only thing that led to any kind of lasting change. Right. And it's, it requires commitment, and it requires belief. It requires curiosity. It's not a quick fix necessarily.
Right.
Some people have very, very quick fixes, but most people don't. Take some time. Yeah. So I think actually anyone, whether they have an illness or not, could benefit from understanding TMS, because we live in a really stressful world, especially now.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So Lyme disease, it started with a tick bite, but it became, because there was so much fear about the symptoms and how they would change and evolve and move to different parts of the body, it became something else.
Yeah, but I also assume that you got treated with the appropriate course of antibiotics or multiple courses. Never?
No, because when I wasn't diagnosed right away. So by the time I was diagnosed, it was over a year since I'd been bitten.
Okay.
And in those circumstances, antibiotics normally are of little use.
But you got better anyway.
I got better. Yeah. I had Rife machine treatments. I had herbals. I had, autoimmune injections, ozone. I had lots of other therapies.
But overall, you learned that you can trust your body.
That is the big takeaway, right?
The body's got it handled. You don't need to be involved.
Right. And to trust it, it's innate wisdom I think sometimes when people are sick and they go through a lot of pain, the body becomes the enemy, and they're angry at the body.
Of course.
And that's the last thing that the body needs. So befriending your body, being kind to your body, talking to your body, sometimes I talk to my body like it's a 4-year-old child. Oh, honey, this was a hard day. Thank you so much. I know you are tired, and I'm going to do what you need to do. I have conversations like that.
And that's awesome. Yeah, it's self-soothing. And I always talk about like soothe yourself like you're a scared little kid, or you're a scared dog with firecrackers going outside or a thunderstorm.
Right.
Just care for yourself and reassure yourself that you're going to be fine.
Right.
I am a big believer that the body is incredibly capable of health, of keeping us
Yeah.
alive, keeping us well. I mean, everything that it's possible of doing is just
Yeah.
absolutely unbelievable. But if we give the brain the misinformation, the brain's going to believe it and act upon it. So if you teach the brain that I'm broken and I'll never get better, it's going to believe it and it's going to stay in this state of activation, high sensitivity until you teach it otherwise. So we got to change the script, give it better information so it can start to calm down.
Yeah.
And I know this is trivializing it, but one of the best ways to calm down your brain and your nervous system is to start responding to whatever's going on calmly. Because if
Right.
you're running around screaming like your pants are on fire, your brain's only going to view that as, holy cow, we are in trouble.
Right.
It's going to stay up here vigilant and hypersensitive. So it's up to us to really take a step back and go, okay, I'm going to be okay. Trust my body. I'm going to teach my brain, let them two figure it out. Teach the brain, trust the body, and get out of the way, right?
Yeah.
Shift our focus back to life, finding joy, moving out of our problem-solving brain and into enjoying ourselves with friends, family, trips, whatever we can do. A lot of people can't do that. You were bedridden for a while. If I said, "Oh, go on with your life," and you were in bed, you'd be like, "What's this guy talking about? I can't do anything."
Right.
So I understand everybody's at different parts of their journey, but when I say, get back to living the best life you can, if you're in bed, it's way better there to maybe do some studying, to watch some comedy, to laugh, to call some friends instead of laying there essentially feeling bad for how bad you're feeling.
Right.
Right.
And then fortune telling about how long it's going to go on and how bad it might get. So I think, one more thing that I might want to say is that for me, and I'm sure for a lot of people, recovery was not this. And then we got there and then we just maintained it. It was like this. And then,
I always do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so not to get discouraged when you have a flare up.
Yeah, we're going to hit speed bumps. That doesn't mean we can't keep moving forward. It just means we might slow down during the speed bump. And if we remain calm and go, it's just a temporary setback, no big deal. I'm going to keep moving because I know that I've moved in the right direction. I always talk about, do whatever you can to stop freaking out.
Yeah.
All freak out does is keep your brain and nervous system in such an elevated state. It does nothing. It does nobody any good. Just keeps you in fear. And the more you freak out, and then you go back to trying to tell yourself that you're safe the next day, your brain's going to go, I don't believe you. You were freaking out yesterday.
Right.
What is it? Are you in danger like yesterday, or you're telling me today you're safe?
Right.
So consistently giving yourself messages of safety, I'm good, positive visualization, right? Yes, you're right. The memory of past health and capability, combine that with future vision of yourself doing what you want to do.
Right.
That's powerful stuff.
Yeah.
And so whether you're using Annie Hopper's stuff, whether you're going the Dispenza, Bruce Lipton, these guys' direction, what it shows is we're all talking about the same stuff.
Yeah.
We're literally all talking about how the brain and the nervous system in the human body works. And yes, there might be 18 different roads that lead to Rome, for example. All roads lead to Rome.
Right.
Don't get so caught up on doing the right program.
Right.
As long as you're focused on teaching your brain that you're already okay and teaching your brain to calm down and start to envision what's possible instead of always envisioning and fortune telling how bad things are going to be, that means you're moving in the right direction. And so don't get caught up on the right program. I'm not the only guy in town. Betsy didn't work with me directly. She's watched some videos, but she wasn't a coaching client. And so she got there anyway. So don't feel like you have to pick the perfect program and which one should I pick, because it's overwhelming. You know, there's
Right.
dozens of TMS coaches out there. There's all sorts of information and practices. And this one tells me to do this. This one tells me that. I guess a good question is this program causing me to believe more and more and more that I'm okay? Or is the program forcing you into a daily routine that's convincing you that you're broken and that you need to fix yourself and will need to do it for the rest of your life?
Right.
I'm much more of the mindset that we just need to give the brain better information. And with that better information consistently, it'll start to dial itself down. And so everything I talk about is really geared towards safety. You're okay. And I say it all the time. Relax. You're not broken. You're not broken physically, mentally, or emotionally. And so anything else you want to add, or?
I just want to say that, trust is a big, big piece. So trust in yourself, trust in your ability to handle things, trust in your body's ability to heal, trust that don't second guess. If you've decided this is a mind body thing, don't second guess yourself.
Right.
Just go with that. Stop Googling, stop searching for another answer. Stop going to new practitioners. Stop reading articles all the time about your health. Just dive in and go with it.
That's awesome. It's probably a great way to wrap it up.
Okay.
And listen, Betsy, I appreciate you. Not sure exactly when this will post, but probably in the next several days to a week or so.
Okay. Can I get a link to it, Dan? Can you send me a link?
I'll send you a link, but it should post on both Facebook and YouTube.
Okay.
So on my YouTube channel, it'll show up there. But I'll let you know when it goes out.
Okay. Okay, great.
So listen, I really appreciate it. Everybody, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.